Today, September 2nd, 2025, the political world is on edge as the entire nation turns its attention to Washington, D.C. The air is thick with anticipation, and every major news outlet is broadcasting live, their anchors speculating on what could be one of the most consequential moments of the year. In newsrooms across the country, editors and producers scramble to keep up with the latest developments, while social media buzzes with theories and predictions. The sense of urgency is palpable, and the stakes could not be higher. Outside the White House, a sea of reporters, photographers, and curious onlookers has gathered, braving the late summer heat. Media vans line the streets, satellite dishes pointed skyward, ready to beam the president's words across the globe. The crowd is a mix of supporters, critics, and those simply drawn by the gravity of the moment, all waiting for President Donald Trump to step forward and speak. Inside the press briefing room, journalists check their phones for last-minute updates, flipping through notes and preparing pointed questions. Camera crews adjust their equipment, ensuring every angle is covered for the live broadcast. The tension is almost tangible as everyone wonders what the president will reveal after more than a week of silence. The White House has confirmed only one detail. The announcement will concern the Department of Defense. This cryptic statement has fueled a storm of speculation, with analysts debating whether it signals a major policy shift, a new military initiative, or perhaps a response to recent global events. Security around key government buildings has visibly increased, adding to the sense of gravity. Recent court rulings have dealt significant blows to several of President Trump's most controversial policies, setting a dramatic and contentious backdrop for today's announcement. Legal experts and political commentators are already dissecting the implications, while protesters and supporters alike make their voices heard outside courthouses and government offices. The choice of the Oval Office as the setting for this address underscores the seriousness of the occasion. Microphones are carefully arranged, and speech drafts are reviewed by senior advisors. Every detail is meticulously planned, signaling that what is about to be said could have far-reaching consequences for the nation and the world. Across the country, Americans are glued to their screens, wondering, will the president address the recent legal setbacks, or will he pivot to unveil a bold new initiative? Political analysts debate possible scenarios, while the public waits for answers that could shape the months ahead. Among the many rumors swirling is the possibility of a major decision regarding the future of the U.S. Space Command headquarters. Defense experts speculate about potential changes in military strategy, while insiders hint at new priorities for national security and technological innovation. This announcement comes at a time of intense legal battles and deep political divisions, ensuring that every word will be scrutinized by allies and opponents alike. As the nation holds its breath, the world watches, waiting to see what direction the president will chart in these uncertain times. Speculation is swirling across the nation as news outlets, social media, and political circles all buzz with the latest rumors about the future of the U.S. Space Command. The question on everyone's mind, where will its new home be? The stakes are high, and the decision could have far-reaching implications for national security, local economies, and the balance of political power. Many insiders believe that President Trump's upcoming announcement will center on the future of the U.S. Space Command, a critical branch tasked with overseeing America's military operations in space. The Pentagon and the White House have remained tight-lipped, fueling even more speculation and debate. According to a leaked live stream and several anonymous sources, the administration is considering relocating Space Command headquarters from its current base in Colorado Springs to Huntsville, Alabama. This potential move has sparked intense debate, with supporters and critics weighing in from both states. If confirmed, this decision would overturn the previous administration's choice to keep Space Command in Colorado, instead fulfilling a campaign promise to key allies in Alabama. For many in the state, it's seen as a long-awaited victory and a testament to their ongoing support for the administration. Huntsville, often called Rocket City, boasts a storied aerospace legacy. Home to NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center and a thriving community of engineers and scientists, the city has played a pivotal role in America's journey to the stars. Supporters argue that its infrastructure, talent pool, and passion for space exploration make it the perfect fit for Space Command's next chapter. However, not everyone is convinced. Critics warn that uprooting the command could disrupt ongoing operations, cost taxpayers millions, and prioritize political loyalty over military strategy. Some see the move as a reward for political allies rather than a decision based on national security needs. The administration, meanwhile, frames the decision as a necessary correction to what they call a politically motivated error by their predecessors. They argue that relocating Space Command is about ensuring the best possible future for America's defense in space. Adding to the intrigue, rumors are swirling that the Department of Defense could even be renamed the Department of War, a move that would mark a dramatic shift in both symbolism and policy. As the nation waits for official word, the debate over Space Command's future continues to intensify, with implications that could shape America's role in space for decades to come. In a landmark decision, a federal court has delivered a significant blow to the Trump administration's controversial use of military forces for domestic law enforcement in Los Angeles. The court's ruling comes after weeks of heightened tension in the city, where the presence of federal troops on urban streets sparked widespread debate and concern among residents, local officials, and civil rights advocates. The deployment, which was intended to quell unrest and restore order, instead ignited a fierce national conversation about the appropriate role of the military within American cities and the boundaries of federal power. Presiding over the case, Judge Charles Breyer issued a decisive opinion, declaring the deployment of federal troops in Los Angeles unlawful. He cited the Posse Comitatus Act, a long-standing federal law that restricts the use of the U.S. military for domestic policing, as the foundation for his ruling. Judge Breyer emphasized that the law was designed to protect American democracy from the dangers of military involvement in civilian affairs, and he warned that ignoring these safeguards could set a dangerous precedent for the future. The court's decision directly challenges the Trump administration's broader strategy of deploying federal troops to American cities in response to civil unrest. Critics argue that such actions undermine local authority and escalate tensions, while supporters claim they are necessary to maintain law and order. The ruling has intensified the ongoing debate over the balance between national security and civil liberties, and it raises important questions about the limits of federal intervention in state matters. California Governor Gavin Newsom has been a vocal opponent of the federal intervention from the outset, calling it an overreach of executive power and a violation of state sovereignty. In a press conference following the court's decision, Newsom praised the ruling as a victory for the people of California and a reaffirmation of the state's right to govern its own affairs without undue interference from Washington. He urged other states to stand up for their rights and resist similar federal actions. Outside the courthouse, crowds gathered to celebrate what many see as a triumph for civil liberties and state sovereignty. Activists, legal experts, and ordinary citizens alike hailed the decision as a crucial step in defending constitutional rights and preventing the militarization of American communities. The ruling has energized advocates for civil rights, who view it as a powerful check on federal authority and a reminder of the importance of judicial oversight. Despite the celebrations, the legal battle is far from over. The Trump administration has signaled its intention to appeal the decision, setting the stage for a high-stakes showdown in higher courts. Legal experts predict that the case could ultimately reach the Supreme Court, where it may have far-reaching implications for the separation of powers and the future of federal-state relations in the United States. At its core, the ruling raises fundamental questions about the limits of presidential authority in domestic affairs. As the nation watches closely, the outcome of this legal battle will help define the boundaries of executive power and the role of the military in American society for years to come. Judge Breyer's ruling against the troop deployment hinges on the Posse Comitatus Act. The act limits military use in domestic law enforcement without congressional approval. The administration's justification under the Insurrection Act was deemed insufficient. Breyer warned against creating a national police force under presidential control. The ruling emphasizes law enforcement as a state responsibility. The deployment occurred against the objections of California's governor and Los Angeles's mayor. The court's decision reinforces the need for federal coordination with state authorities. The administration's unilateral approach was a key factor in the ruling. A federal appeals court has ruled President Trump's global tariffs unlawful. The court found the president overstepped his authority under the Trade Expansion Act. The ruling challenges the administration's use of tariffs on national security grounds. It opens the door for companies to seek refunds for tariffs paid. The decision could force a major recalibration of the administration's trade policy. An appeal to the Supreme Court is expected, with significant implications for presidential power. The Trump administration plans to expand federal law enforcement to other cities. Chicago is a primary target, with plans for a possible National Guard operation. Local officials fiercely oppose the move, fearing it will escalate tensions. Federal activity in Chicago is already increasing, with planned ICE raids. Governor Pritzker calls the federal action an invasion, highlighting state-federal animosity. The administration argues it is enforcing federal law where local officials have failed. The strategy has become a flashpoint in the administration's law and order agenda. Lawmakers face a looming government shutdown as the fiscal year deadline approaches. Congress must pass appropriations bills by September 30th to avoid a shutdown. The political climate is polarized, complicating bipartisan agreement. Senate Minority Leader Schumer blames Republicans for rejecting a bipartisan funding approach. Disputes over spending levels and policy debates threaten the process. A shutdown would disrupt services and be a political embarrassment. The familiar pattern of last-minute negotiations is playing out in Washington. The stakes are high, with potential impacts on federal workers and the economy. President Trump plans to award the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani, a longtime ally, is recovering from a car accident. The award is symbolic, celebrating Giuliani's loyalty and leadership post-9/11. Critics see it as a political act rewarding a loyalist. Meanwhile, Democratic Representative Jerry Nadler announces he won't seek re-election. Nadler's retirement marks the end of an era for a prominent progressive voice. His departure signals a generational shift in Congress. The race to succeed him will shape the future direction of the Democratic Party. The nation is at a crossroads, grappling with questions of law, power, and governance. Trump's announcement on the Department of Defense asserts executive authority amid legal challenges. Recent court rulings reinforce checks on executive overreach in domestic and trade policies. Tensions between the White House and state leaders highlight federalist system friction. The looming government shutdown adds to the sense of instability. These events have real-world consequences for the economy and civil liberties. They underscore the importance of an engaged and informed citizenry in a dynamic democracy.